Welcome back to The Line. 'Tis the season of public opinion polls as we bear down to the midterm elections. We talked about the issues earlier in the show, but another poll conducted by Research and Polling Inc. also caught our eye this week. The poll found support for Governor Susana Martinez dipping once again to 35% among established voters. This comes on the heels of a nonprofit, New Mexico Legacy, launching a new website designed to promote the governor's accomplishments in office the last 8 years. And Senator Boitano, it's a normal time for governors to lay out their legacy. We're all used to that. But this is a highly unusual step. I want to get into the details of it in a second. But in your overall, have you ever seen an outside person establish someone's presence for a legacy building project? Is this unusual to you? Does this strike you a little bit new?
Well, it's definitely new.
Yeah.
I don't consider it unusual. I mean,
Okay.
we're in the world of new technologies, and if you're a governor that wants to cement your legacy, you're going to do a number of things, and this is one of the things you might do.
Mm-hmm.
With regards to Governor Martinez's legacy, it's quite interesting. I served 4 years with Gary Johnson, 8 years with Bill Richardson, and 4 years with Governor Martinez. And I think one of the problems with Governor Martinez is for the public to understand what was her vision, what were her values. So
Right.
Gary Johnson, I mean, you knew where he was at.
Fair
Let's
point.
treat government like a business. Let's privatize this. Lots of education reform. Let's get rid of the state board. Charter schools, sign that bill. Open enrollment. Never doubted where he was at. Richardson, big mind, right?
That's right.
Spaceport. Let's bring the NFL here. Fox News, CNN, you name it. He's marketing New Mexico. Governor Martinez, what was she really about? So I think a lot of people are confused. So this is an effort to move in that direction. Up close and personal, Governor Martinez was, I'd rate her on a scale of 1 to 10, probably 10, very personal. And the head of state responsibilities that an executive has, she handled those very well. Head of government policy and that kind of stuff, the things that Trump does well and doesn't do well as head of state, she was kind of weak on that. So
Gotcha.
I think that's one of the problems. The other problem is when you come in after an activist governor like Richardson, Republicans by nature don't believe the government can solve everybody's problems. And so whether you're, R.J. Berry following Marty Chavez or Susana Martinez following Bill Richardson, I think there's a little bit of a, maybe they're, comparing them to the former governor.
That can happen. That's
But
for sure.
she was a rock star for a while
Yeah.
there. I mean, think about some of the stuff she did, VP candidate. She, the legislative victories, toppling, major leaders on the Democratic side, taking over the House.
Right.
A lot of memorable victories that she has on her watch.
I want to come back to some of those too, because those are notable, but they're hard to sort of express as victories. I hear your point though, but interesting. I teased it, Sophie, but the person running this Legacy New Mexico site is her longtime aide, Jay McCluskey.
And I'm sure he's making money helping her try to figure out what her next soft landing will be.
Right.
I will say, looking at the website and thinking about her legacy, the things that she, let's say in a positive way, are most known for, her focus on law and order issues. I look at that website and I think, well, Jeff Sessions might be out at some point. Maybe she's gunning for that.
Right.
Maybe she's looking at FBI. I mean,
Interesting.
It's hard to say because so much of what she points to as having been her accomplishments is crime related, is law and order related.
Right.
For those of us who live in the state, though, her legacy is certainly complicated by what she did to our behavioral health systems.
That's fair enough.
By what's happened to our economy over the last 7 years, 7.5 years, by her, her failures to truly lead the state, and instead it seems like her leadership is sort of more picking at things from the side. So, I look at the website. I think it raises real questions about where she's going. I don't think there's any question that she was involved in the messaging on there, and because it's got to be part of her plans for where she's going to go next.
It's an interesting thing to muse about, isn't it? The future and that Jeff Sessions thing. That's interesting. Adrian, 35% approve, as I mentioned, 47% disapprove. But she had a high of 69% back in 2012 approval. That's a pretty steep fall. Now, previous governors mentioned by the senator, they have had their share of fall at the end of it all. Does this seem like what is it saying to you, that amount of disapproval rate that's currently happening now?
Look, I think the numbers right now reflect where the community has been all along. You know, we know Susana Martinez to be a bully. She has spent the last 8 years ripping apart the behavioral health system. She spent the last 8 years with a laser focus on crime and punishment rather than the root causes of crime. She spent the last 8 years lining the pockets of big testing companies, taking over the education department. And she spent the last 8 years not being able to step out of the mud of politics to actually govern. And so I think what we're seeing is these numbers reflect how communities already feel about this governor.
Interesting point there. Tom, one thing that jumped out to me is her support among Republicans, in that it is currently at 52%, which is less than President Trump has in our state at 77%. What do we make of that?
It's a great question. I mean, obviously, if you just look at the numbers, she's not as popular as the president, and the president is,
Is it the all politics is local kind of a syndrome where we just feel it more acutely here?
Yeah, the Republicans locally might be feeling like, okay, well, we're really closer to the issue. We kind of know what's happening and stuff. But you know, I really appreciated Senator Boitano's assessment of Governor Martinez and just her personal approach and stuff. And that's something that I've seen firsthand. And I think the issues that she's had has been, she was never really got out of campaign mode to really get into her governing mode. She always, it always came across anyway in the perception that the governance was delegated to her chief of staff and other, department heads, which is not a bad thing to do. But you have to be able to take control and say, this is what, this is what I'm responsible for. But yeah, she does have, Sophie brings up a great point. I didn't even thought about that. So I started, printed out the website and started counting. And I go, okay, yeah, there's expanding Katie's Law, fighting DWI, cleaning up corruption, tackling border safety issues. Yeah, maybe it is a resume tape, for lack of a better term, to try and get a federal position, which in that case, good for her. Maybe she can do some good there, because she clearly was very effective as a district attorney in that particular role, and maybe returning to that law enforcement role will be a good fit for her.
It's an interesting point there. Senator, let me pick up on that.
I think one of the main reasons why her poll numbers are down, the nail in her coffin was really that incident in 2015 at the hotel, because it's a serious abuse of your position, right? So, Representative Youngblood, same kind of thing. So in the legislature, when I was there, a number of people get arrested for DWI. The right way to deal with it is, you know what, I shouldn't have been doing it, I was wrong, I'll suffer the consequences, right? That's the right way to do it. Not, I'm a legislator or whatever, and you got to treat me differently. That's what the governor did. And for anybody, Republican, Democrat, to see that, listen, I'm the governor of the state of New Mexico, and because of that, X, Y, and Z. No, we're public servants, and I think more than anything else, her poll numbers started to go down, and she lost the trust of a lot of voters, including Republicans, and that was really the nail in her coffin.
Let me stay with you out of respect to Governor Martinez, Senator Boitano. She was the first Latina governor. There's something there when you talk about that. That can't be ignored by any stretch. We can talk about the little things she did along the way that Tom has there. And going down the road of the future, that has to be bode positively for her, I would think, whatever she wants to do.
Yeah, no, it's true. And actually, any, presidents, governors, they're lame duck and their poll numbers are down, right? And then the trend is, over the years, their poll numbers go up. So I think she has a lot to be proud of. The policy issues. I mean, the reality is our public education system is doing better today, and that's a big issue. She deserves some credit, despite the confusion of these accountability systems. She deserves some credit for that. She navigated us through a very, very difficult time with regards to the budget. I mean, the budget, we have the surplus now, and she's going to take credit for that, but she navigated us through some very difficult times. So the criminal justice reforms and changes and so forth. So she has a lot to be proud of, and she has a lot to market and advertise, and she's chosen this method to do it along with others, and I think she's very wise.
Let's see how it rolls. And Jay, he's got his own future to kind of take care of too, so we'll see what happens. Have to end that there. When we come back, we'll look at a new lawsuit alleging major dysfunction with the state's foster care system.